Keep marching down this card. In the bantamweight division, Merab Dvalishvili defeated the great Jose Aldo by unanimous decision, as I predicted last week, which was the one that I got right. 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27 on the scorecards. Gentlemen, Omar, let me throw it over to you first this time. What was your assessment and your thoughts following Merab's kind of domination of Jose in a way?
Domination
Disagree.
is a really
Okay,
strong fucking word there, Mike.
Okay.
This fight was a snooze fest.
It was a Merab fight. That's what I mean. He Merab.
It wasn't.
No,
You don't think so?
No.
So much grappling, so much clinch.
Merab is so effective in the clinch. Merab beats the shit out of people in the clinch.
Yeah.
Merab is not this hold people against. He's not an Aldo. He doesn't hold people against the cage and knee people in the fucking thigh. That's not his game. That's Aldo's game. Merab takes no shade. That's Aldo's game. Merab takes people down. Merab ground and pounds these fucking people. Merab out scrambles people. And what does Aldo do? Aldo stays off the ground. Aldo pressures people. Aldo throws solid shots at people. Aldo knees people. Aldo hopefully sometimes kicks people in the goddamn leg. None of these things occurred in this fight from either side. And it was super frustrating. It's like, Jose Aldo's out here getting held up against the cage and yawning and shit. And yeah, like I get it. We're bored too, but one of y'all have to do something, whether it's Merab actually having to try to secure this takedown and not, stomping your foot or whatever such nonsense, or Aldo trying to turn off the cage or something like that. Again, I think the altitude played into it because Aldo's already had issues with cardio in the past. Usually we don't see that happen until he hits championship rounds, though, which is what I thought was going to be the case. It definitely was not. But this wasn't a fight, dude. This was... You can't tell me by the... Aldo's definitely had cardio issues in the past.
No, I'm saying in this fight, you thought he had cardio issues?
I thought it was fine.
I did.
They were just clinched the whole fight.
Yeah, but I didn't think he looked tired.
But there was no... Aldo is one of the most explosive human beings on that roster.
That's true.
There was no explosion at any point.
There weren't very many moments for him to explode.
I disagree.
Morab was on him.
But that's when you explode. That's when Aldo explodes. There's a reason why people don't clinch with Aldo. There's a reason why people don't take Aldo down and keep him down, because they fucking can't. Right. Aldo bounces up like he's a goddamn rocket. Like his hips hit the floor, they come right back up. Merab didn't even have that chance, number one, and never really tried to go for takedowns like that. It was just, he felt like as long as he can control Aldo and not get hit, he was going to win the fight, and he was content winning the fight like that. And that sucked. That really sucked.
Mark, what was your take?
My theme is suck, so nice word. Segue, thank you. Into me. This fight sucked in a lot of different ways. It sucked, of course, because we had this huge fight, possibly to determine the next man to fight for the belt, and we got a snooze fest. It sucked, especially for me, as a huge fan of Jose, because it ended this title run that he seemed to be on, especially one where I really thought he matched up really well with Aldo and could possibly take this belt. It sucked because, in a way, it managed to dim the star of both men, despite Merab getting the W. But mainly it sucked because this is the worst of what can happen in MMA, which is that you get a big fight that you're all excited to watch, and one man beats the other despite never, ever coming close to remotely hurting him in the entire fight. It's just not what MMA is supposed to be. I don't think Aldo ever even said ow in the whole fight. And neither did Merab. I mean, maybe a couple nice knees Aldo landed, but it's just tough to take in a fight that's that big, and it's both of their fault. Merab was content to lean against the cage and stay somewhat safe from Aldo's strikes and hope that the control and the small strikes would win the cards for him, which is not something we are used to ever seeing from Merab. The guy is like a fucking Tasmanian devil, and instead we get this, which really was just super disappointing that he was content to do that. And then on the flip side, Jose fights fine in round one. I thought he won round one. And then round two, it kind of shifts. He's still fighting okay, but I think he loses round 2. I think everyone did. And then you have Andre in his corner telling him that he's up 2-0 and that no one is going to give Merab that round unless they like stalling. And because of that, Jose comes out and fights a super tentative round 3 where he doesn't even try to push it because he thinks he's up 2-0. And that's Andre's fault, and that's Jose Aldo's fault, because you can't come out and coast like that just because your coach said something. Like, ask yourself, are you sure you won round 2? Because barely anything fucking happened in round 2. So, yeah, okay, your coach just said it to you. But how sure can you be? Like, you can't just come out and... He literally sleepwalked through round 3. Like, you can't be doing that. And, like, if Merab was just standing there holding Jose against the cage in round 2, that's one thing. But the man landed, like, 25 knees to Aldo's legs. Like, those count. I don't know why some coaches and fighters tend to think that those don't count. Like, they certainly do count. And they counted enough to win round 2 because nothing else really happened. So, frankly, Jose blew it in what I feel was a very winnable matchup for him, to the point that if they were to fight again tomorrow, I would still pick Jose because I think that he fights that fight with a much different style, much more aggressive, and I still think he matches up really well with Merab and that he would win the fight. But he blew it. And, I mean, his takedown D, despite the loss, has got to be the most impenetrable takedown D that we've ever seen. Like, I'm trying to think of someone else. The guy is fucking unreal. You cannot get him on the ground.
Yeah. Rob was what, like 0 for 15 or something that night? Something crazy? Yeah.
But he blew it. He fought lazy and relaxed and dumb and enjoyed thinking he was winning when he wasn't, because maybe he had coaches in his ear or who knows what. But he wasn't winning. And then Merab, as I say, he gets this big showcase against the legend, and yeah, he gets a win, but no one's clamoring for a Merab title shot after that one. And I know he won't fight Aldo anyway, but say TJ wins. That shot could have been Merab's, and now there's no way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, it's super frustrating. He's 0 for 16 in that fight, by the way.
The takedowns?
The takedowns.
It's unreal. I mean, I know we're bashing Aldo a little bit right now, but the takedown D is nothing. You never see anything like it in your life.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what Aldo is known for. Aldo is known for not being able to take him down. But at the same time, Aldo did nothing to stop Merab from trying, right? Like, he would get him against the cage and Aldo would just stay there. We've seen even young fighters turn people off the cage when they get stuck in situations like this. And Aldo is the veteran of veterans, and like, he can't do shit to get Merab off the cage. And what's worse is he thinks that because Merab's not doing anything to him, whether we want to argue that or not, that he wins the round automatically.
No.
What in the hell?
I mean, you can't take 25 knees to your thigh while you do nothing and act like it was an even stalemate. Like, you're down 25 strikes to 0 in that
fight.
And
being against the cage, though, for all intents and purposes, is essentially being on the bottom of a ground position. And if you're not doing anything to change that position, you lose. It's a boring ass fight, but control would always go to Merab in that situation. It's never going to the guy against the cage, and you lose. So I don't understand where the confusion came from in their camp. Yeah, I had the Willy Wonka thing in my head.
Yeah, the clinch can very often be the most boring position in MMA.
For sure. And when I'm scoring fights, I don't reward it heavily if there's significant action that is happening otherwise. But there wasn't.
Nothing else
so you
happened.
have nothing else to score.
Yeah, it's subjective, but you're right. It's the guy who has his back against the cage is usually the one who's losing that exchange.
I'll tell you right now, if Merab had held him against the cage and Aldo was throwing knees and like lifting, Merab up with these knees, but Merab was not giving up his control and just Aldo was just on the cage, just throwing knees, landing knees to the body, one would argue Aldo won that round. That shit is not what happened. And it just, you can hear the frustration in my voice because both of them are way better than what they showed in that fight. And it's really sad that this is where we're at, because now Aldo's talking about potentially retiring, that now that was his last title shot. He wants to go out on that performance.
Well,
dude, that shit, it's the whole thing is just crazy to me. This fight really upset the shit out of me.
I wish with fights like that we could just be like, no. Where's the next Paris? You guys get on a plane, going to Paris. We just added you to that card. We're gonna have to figure this out better than that.
Do it again. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk about where Merab might go from here, since he is the winner, and he does have a big name on his record now, and Jose Aldo, in spite of the snooze fest. Mark, put on the matchmaker hat once again, where would you go next with Dvalishvili?
So we talked about last week, obviously, if Aldo won this fight, we thought he'd be getting the next shot against the Aldo TJ winner. And then we also talked about if Merab won, how suddenly the options open up. I do not think Merab is in the running for a title shot. I don't think there's any way he gets one off of that win. So now the options become only your boy Cheeto and the winner of Jan O'Malley, if it's super impressive. So I think that where Merab sits right now is that he's just fighting whoever doesn't get it. You know, if Sean O'Malley knocks out Petr Yan in round 1, maybe they're like, holy shit, Sean O'Malley, push him to the moon, he's getting the title shot. I think we get Merab Cheeto. If the winner of that O'Malley-Yan fight is not super impressive, I think Cheeto's going to walk into a title shot, and I think Merab will fight the winner of that other fight.
Okay. Any other suggestions, Omar?
Maybe it's because I'm emotional right now. Maybe it's because I feel petty right now. I'm not really sure. But I want to give Nope. I want to give Corey Sandhagen a shot at Merab. Right.
He's fighting Song Yadong first. Soon, I think.
See that? It is soon. It's in less than a month. Okay, if Corey Sandhagen wins that fight, which is very possible, Son Yadong is still a big threat. But if he wins that fight, I think he should fight Merab. That's my take.
Fair.
Like it. All right, gentlemen. Let's throw the remainder.
Hang on. I want to match up Jose as well.
I thought what if he's retiring? Go for it.
No, he's not. You think he's really retiring?
I just read those quotes that Merab
he might have just been emotional. It's possible he might have been emotional.
I think that was some post-fight. That would break my fucking heart if that happened. My God, that better not happen. I'm not prepared for that.
You heard what he said to Merab, though, right?
Yeah, he said he was done.
But he said it because he was saying this was his last shot of the title. Now it's over. I think.
Well, that boy ain't going to fight unless he's going to fight for a title.
I think Dana's mindset is going to be in a similar place to my mindset, which is that was not any loss of like Jose Aldo's run being over because of any way he looked in that fight. I don't think it made you think in any way he can't still beat these guys at the top. It was just a weird ass fight. Mm-hmm. You saw the way he was received by a crowd in fucking Utah, like a goddamn rock star.
He's a legend. Living legend.
Jose Aldo. Can't speak. Hold on.
Mark's getting emotional.
Jose Aldo is far from over promotionally. I'm dying. There we go. If it's me, and I really do think Dana is probably in a similar place how he's looking at this, I am attempting to give Aldo a springboard to immediately re-enter this title conversation, and I'm going to take the loser of Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw and put them across from Jose Aldo.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
So you're saying the loser of the title fight is going to fight Jose?
Yeah.
Why?
I was going to say, that might be even more crazy than me punishing Merab.
Well, I don't understand. Why is this crazy? For them to fight a top 5 guy if they lose.
So who would you give Merab? The winner of Petr Yan O'Malley?
Or Cheeto, depending who gets the title shot.
Okay.
And then you give Aldo...
Wouldn't you need to be matching up the loser of Dillashaw and Aljo with someone else who just lost in the top 5?
Yeah, I'm just thinking somebody here gets lost in the mix, though. It's either going to be Marlon Merab or Jose end up getting lost in this top 5 mix here.
Look at it. Say Aljo wins, right? Mm-hmm. You have Aljo Cheeto. Mm-hmm. You do TJ Aldo. And then you have Merab against the winner of O'Malley and Yan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Fair enough.
I got you.
Man, we might finally get...
Okay. Come on, son, don't doubt me.
We might finally get an Aldo TJ fight, which I would love to see.
Still want the Aldo Cruz.
It might be bold, but it's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I still want Aldo Cruz, and now that Aldo has lost, it's still a thing.
They could do that, too. They could do that, too.
It's still a thing.
That's your pick? Aldo Cruz?
Wouldn't shock me.
I mean, we talked about it before. I still think that fight needs to happen before they both retire. I mean, I think it's crazy that it hasn't. But
which one do you want more? If you got told only one can happen, you get to see Aldo Cruz or Frankie Cruz. Which one do you pick?
I'm going Frankie Cruz all day.
I am too.
I think it would just be a better fight. They're better matched up at this point.
Yeah, I think it's more interesting stylistically.
And I'm more torn on who wins. I would be picking Aldo to beat Cruz.
I think Aldo's too big, even it's still at 135.
Same.
Wow. Oh, yeah.